Welcome back to the Wook Club on Wook Plus on Weekend Wook, joined by T and Kev, the great one. It's weird listening to Fish when we're about to talk about the dead, but
I was thinking the
whoever's
same thing. That was weird.
whoever's idea this was though to mix it up and throw in a dead night is a genius because I had a lot of fun listening to this show.
I had a
Um,
lot of fun with it as well. I was thinking on my I did it on a hike today. I was thinking on the hike we might need to do this like once a month, Kev. Maybe just do a dead re-listen once a
Mm,
month show because this
yeah,
is
yeah,
fun. This is really
yeah.
cool,
It was
and
yeah, no,
there's
I
a ton
agree.
of them out there to listen to.
So what do you guys think? Or I guess you want to set us up. We usually start it off by setting up. I've got to admit, like when we do the fish ones, I know quite a bit of fish history and it can give like context. I love Grateful Dead, but like I'm not a student of them at the same way I am with fish. So I'm going to be going at this from I think a more novice angle. But I can't wait to hear what you guys thought of this show. But you guys want to set us up for what this was December '79?
Yeah, a fun little fact to kick us off with from 79 to 82, the Dead spent the day after Christmas for those 4 years playing a show at the Oakland Coliseum. And here we are, the day after Christmas, talking about a show from 79. So there's a little bit of kismet there, I feel like. It's kind of a fun little fact. So just a few weeks away from the first of four. This show is a few weeks away from that first run of 4 years in a row of doing a show the day after Christmas. So kind of sets us
Yeah.
up nicely.
Yeah. And it was an early Dick's Picks was
Mm,
12/26/79. The first one they did. It's where they broke Uncle John's band back out and actually
yep.
did an Uncle John's reprise with the encore. Fantastic. Just a little context. Brent was what, 8, 9 months in at this point. He started in April. If you when we go through the set list as we're looking at it, they've really begun to solidify what a Grateful Dead show would be going forward at that point. It was no longer the 77, 78 where all these songs live. 70% of the time they were played after that were in that spot or relative to it in the set list. So
Yep.
Cool. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Uh, I thought from my perspective, at least from what I was listening to, this was like very classic. What I think of as Grateful Dead, right? Like out of all the eras, like this is felt very classic. And this Jack Straw, I think, started and it had a really nice, clean, classic Dead sound to it. And I kept thinking the whole time about Billy smacking the shit out of the drums, right? Like, I mean, the soundboards from this show were great, but man, that guy can hit the fucking drums. What do you guys
Yep.
think about this as a Jack Straw to open up the show?
well, it definitely set the tune, set the stage for what we were going to get through the rest of it. A lot of cowboy stuff. It was solid. I mean, it was nothing. It was a Jack Straw opener. I'm sure the crowd was pumped after it.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, and it was one of those Jack Straws, though. Like, to me, it's always where's the jam in that Jack Straw land? Like, right? Like, how deep into it do they get? How jammy do they get with that? And in this one, it kicked off really nice, especially as an opener, right? Like, it definitely after that kind of gets in that zone and kind of does that break and does that jam coming back into it was just, I mean, it was smoking. And this is kind of that sound of the Jack Straw that you're looking for, like the kind that
Yeah.
you want. And Phil's kind of dropping the bombs after the cut him down part. Like you get those two big, sometimes you don't get those, right? Like sometimes they just kind of roll over those. This is one of those shows where Phil leaned into it and you got those boom, boom, and just a solid number. And to your point, Brent being, what was it, 8, 9 months in at this point, I thought he was shining on this. Like he has some moments throughout this entire show that we'll get to as we go through it, but right out the gate, making his presence felt in this one and like bringing it
It
in.
added so added so much color color too because Keith in general was a piano player. It was
Hmm.
another wooden instrument on stage with the guitars. Brent's with the electric piano. He's throwing in some organ. He
The
really added
organ,
all this color to
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I think even in this one, you can start feeling him playing off of Jerry. And I mean, we'll get to that too later because there's definitely some playoffs that him and Jerry play with. And I think again, you get that right away in this show right from the get, and just that tempo. It's a faster Jack Straw. It's got that energy to it, and that leads into kind of the rest of the show too, which I think you kind of have that tempo in all of these songs, which again we'll talk about as we go through them.
Yeah, there's a little extra something it felt like, a little pickup on them. And so the straw goes right into a really nice sugary jam, or sugary with a nice jam to it. And
Two
a little
jams.
you could feel the Brent synths coming in the beginning of this scent too, which was cool. I really liked the texture it gave to the music.
My favorite sugaries are the 1980s, early 80s Jerry band ones with Ozzy Azir doing that weird high pitched keyboard sounds on them.
Yeah.
That is tight. But yeah, this sugary had two jams. Jerry went back and sang. It would have run to the end. They went another 6 minutes. I mean, it clocked in at 17 minutes. That is a beast of a sugary.
in
Yeah,
the
big
two
one.
slot, and it was an sort of an upbeat, like a little bit quicker, had a little bit more of a pep in the step to this sugary, where sometimes you can get the real slow down ones and the real, but being in the two slot, there was no time to slow down yet in this set, right? So like you have to
Right.
kind of keep it going. And after that Smoke and Jack Straw, I thought the segue into it was beautiful, and I thought that first jam was really fun, but that second jam, I thought there was a really good organ and Jerry play there. That was like what I was talking about in the last one. I think this is where they really started like kind of giving each other a little bit of a back and forth. And man, Jerry's guitar work in this thing was just. There's some special moments in this show that Jerry really shined in, and this was one of those first ones. Just an absolutely stellar, like just a pure sugary, like very sweet, very beautiful, really good.
I like that. Hey, let me bring this up real quick because Steven, yeah, we're gonna try to do better getting it out. This was weird with the holidays, so we didn't get as much of it out there. But if you'd want, this is gonna live on YouTube forever. So please, anyone that missed or didn't go back and listen to the show, you could go check out, listen to the show, and then come back and watch the recap.
And I highly recommend listening to it because it's one of those shows that really, once you get into it, it gives you that positive vibe, like what you look for in a Dead show. Like you can't help but just kind of smile and just kind of like it's a great
Mm,
show. It's got some great movements and it's good.
Yeah, and quality recordings too.
Mm-hmm.
Everything sounded really good.
mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have anything particular about this Me and My Uncle, except I just wanted it's a personal thing. I love covering that song. That's one of my favorite songs to jam to. It is just such a fun song. But I thought this was a pretty serviceable, nice version of it. It fit in well. I think it
Goose does
came
a
out
great
of
version.
what's that?
Goose does a great version of it.
Oh, dude, they. How do you know so much about Goose, Kev?
I tell you what I find fascinating. Last night when I was listening to the Me and My Uncle Big River, that's the Bobby chunk.
Yeah,
The Bobby tune, the Jerry tune, and with Fish, it's all Trey tunes. So the Grateful
that's
Dead,
not true. They throw
well,
in Mike Set Killers every night.
one song, but it isn't like Mike's song to open, Trey song, Mike's song, Trey song. Like there aren't two lead. Trey is the lead vocalist, and everybody else gets a song once in a while.
Okay,
Basically,
if
is
if Paige or Mike were Bobby, it would be different, right? That's like Lennon and McCartney, Jerry and Bobby, and then you're gonna say Trey and his band. I'm sorry. I mean, I love Fish. Obviously, you guys all know that, but like, that's not a fair comparison. I don't feel like.
well, but I was going somewhere with it. It led to a much different feel to Grateful Dead sets because you had two different people calling every other song.
Yeah,
Well, I will
I
say
think
this
that
was
they
kind of
throw
a
in a lot of other songs though.
there was some heavy Bobby not in this show. I felt like he got a lot of double Bobby hits, right? Like I mean, he kind of got did this double hit. He got the Minglewood. Kind of the music never stopped when they're a little confused about each other. Amen. And then the second set they close with him, right? Like you get the Saturday Night and the Sugar Mags at the end, which rip. But it's a
We'll get
little.
into
There's
it.
a lot of Bobby in this show. But to
There
your
is.
point, Tim, again, the Me and My Uncle just kind of fit in. Like there was nothing special about this one. It just kind of like kept the flow of the set going. It worked. Jack Straw, Me and My Uncle, a Big River. Like that's kind of what you want in a jamming first set of a Dead show. Like it's so
Yeah,
much
it's pretty
fun. Those are
rocking.
the story tunes. To your point too, it's just that Americana at its finest. Like the beautiful lyrics, the fun notes, just awesome. Big River too with Bobby jamming. I mean, it's such a fun. Again, you can't help but just kind of step around and jam a little bit. So love it.
Jerry still owned Big River at this point too. Like the
Yeah.
77, 78 Big Rivers were all those monsters, and this one just rolled right along too. It was Bobby singing, it's a Bobby song, but Jerry was
He
starring.
gets
Yeah.
such good touch in that song too. I mean that bluesy feel just soared through. It sounded so good.
It was a very bluesy, feely show, though, even though it had a lot of this, like, rocky jamming, and we'll talk about that when we get to the Althea, especially because bluesy to the core. But, I mean, it really there's a lot of that underlying blues, like we talk about a lot with the Mayer shows and Dead& Co.
Yeah.
I felt like this was almost a really comparable Jerry to what Mayer was doing in a lot of you could almost like how we always talked about, oh, I'd want to see Mayer do this in a smoky bar in Chicago. I felt like that like 2 or 3 times a night with Jerry. I was like, damn, Jerry should be doing this and like that kind of. And I was like, wow, I'm really comparing Mayer and Jerry. But I think it's just the way the songs are and the way he just kind of
Especially in the
flowed
Big
into it.
River here, I think the way he was playing in it really captured that.
Yeah, I agree totally. So it was good
Well,
stuff though. Fun.
where are you guys on Loser? Because I don't
I
like.
love Loser.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you my Loser story.
All
When
right.
I saw them in '87 at JFK, after Jerry had gone into the coma and come back out, and I thought I'd never see him again, they did Loser. And when Jerry was up there singing, I got no chance of losing this time. It's just the most beautifully like twisted line because you know the person singing the song is going to lose. There's no two ways about it. But he's singing it and just watching him up there with his hair blowing back, singing, I got no chance of losing this time. I was like, this is Grateful Dead telling me about my life, you know?
The lyrics and hearing Jerry, it's one of those Jerry tunes that just to the core, right? Like it's just one of those beautiful fucking stories and the way he sings it and tells it to you. And like, I love it. It's one of my favorite lyrically told songs that kind of just take you down that path and leads you down like, tell me a story, grandpa. Okay, here you go, and you're just kind of like in it. I love it. It's great.
So go ahead
Yeah.
and crush it, Tim.
After all that.
No, it's great, man. It's good.
I thought that's where you were going, that you weren't big on it or something.
I'm not. Well, and so here's the thing. I 100% hear where you guys are coming from and agree with those takes. I think they're very solid takes. And there's a very personal thing. I really get into like the groove and the jams and the music, I think, more than the lyrical side of things. And maybe that's because I didn't start with the Dead, like, but just in general, that's how I listen to all music. So I think it was like a beautifully written song, but like musically for me, it's not, it's kind of like a slower lull of the
Doesn't grab
set,
you.
and
Now,
it
don't
just
you
doesn't
like
speak
that
to me as well, I guess.
that sort of slow build in it, and then that when it builds up and that sort of that release, that crescendo that you get when he comes out and has that last there, in the country, and usually you get that "Sweet Susie" line, right, Kev? Like sometimes when he's
Yep.
really feeling it, you'd get that "Sweet Susie," and I thought for sure we'd get it in this one, right? Like it was set up for it because it had that build and that feel, but it wasn't there. It didn't matter, but yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, as you know, you kind of always sing it in there and feel like it should have been there. And this felt like one of those that would have had it, but I don't know. I thought it had a great build and release. And again, a little bit extended version sort of on it. I felt like it kind of kicked a little bit extra with that build and that jam to get there. But again, Jerry just laying the sauce down. I thought it was just
A
gorgeous.
lot of these songs, as you got further into the '80s and then the '90s, lost a minute or two. They all seem to get a little bit shorter than they were
Mm-hmm.
before. So
Mm-hmm.
You think that had
Cutting
anything
a
to
little
do
bit
with
out.
Brett and his coke?
I
Just
think it
trying
had to do with
Speeding them
I
up a
think it
little
had to do
the
honestly,
same
I
amount
think
of bars, they're just a little bit faster.
I think toward the end it was probably Jerry was not really into it. I mean, we've all heard the interviews where he would rather have done Jerry Band or played with Grisman, but the Grateful Dead was a beast that he had to keep
Couldn't
feeding
stop
by
it.
playing to employ
Right.
40 people.
Right, and also to prevent all the rioting and
Oh,
craziness.
we all would have gone to
Yeah.
fish anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, in 79, sure.
Well, not in 79, but in 90. No, I'm talking about in like 90 after the nine. Once Brent died, I think Jerry was like, can we just not do this anymore? But
Right.
Yeah.
he couldn't walk away.
All right, well, I don't
Yeah.
have anything to say about Easy to Love You, so why don't you guys take that?
I love Brent. It's a love song. Good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. And
It's weird
Brent,
that's what they gave him. They're like, all right, we're going to let you put two songs on the next album, Easy to Love You and Far From Me, when he had things like, I think with a harder edge, he probably could have.
but he always had that like that soft the tender song sort of feel to him too, you know, like I Will Take You Home, and he kind of always had that softer side to him. That's how I always looked at Brent, is like that softer, even though he was kind of that speedy,
Yeah, but that's
cokey,
not
like
the way to
freshmen.
use
Whoa,
Brent,
look at
though.
that cat.
Well,
Yeah, no, not at all. But that's what he always kind of he had that feeling to him more than Vince did for sure. I felt like
oh
he
yeah.
just sort of had that, you know, that emotion to him. Blow away.
Well, you know that Brent was in a band called Silver, is where he got lifted for Bobby's band. And Silver's manager said to them, you can either be like the Eagles and make some money, or you can be like the Grateful Dead. And we see where he ended up. But that's what he grew up in, was that soft rock. If you listen to Silver, I think they had a hit song of some kind, a minor hit back in the mid-70s.
That soft
but
rocky kind of sound, and it's definitely there. I mean, yeah, he does rip. Don't get. I mean, that's what adds that extra element of those sounds too, like the Jack Straw jams and some of those bigger jams. Like he definitely brings that super element of that faster pace to it. But I think he also has that emotional, slower side to them that sometimes was nice to have in the band with Jerry there. So
you know,
Yeah.
I think they were glad to have another singer too, because Keith never sang.
yeah,
They had
Yeah.
Donna, and they did what, Sunrise and Heart of Me a couple times, but it was never you know, by the time before Brent died, he had 2 songs a night. He had a first set and a second set, you know.
yeah, and they'd get him into, you know, the Pocky Ways and some of those other like fun songs that he could do and stuff. So yeah, I mean,
So we talked longer about Easy to Love You than anything there.
and we should have. We should
I
have.
was
So
not
going on to
expecting that.
Minglewood.
Look, I have a friend.
Respect for the dead.
Yeah.
That's
I love
Frances
Minglewood.
Bean. Frances Bean, we thought, was a young lady, and her balls dropped. So
No way.
Now it's
Yeah.
Frank and
Amazing.
Beans.
Frank and
yeah, now
Beans.
he's Frank and Beans, right?
I don't know. You kind of got the Siegfried and Roy thing going on there, Kev, with the tie. You need to like put them around your like neck
Right.
and have them like lay
Have
across
him
you.
maul me.
Kev comes on missing an eye. Yeah, Minglewood though is one of those Bobby tunes. It's one of my favorite Bobby tunes. It's kind of like that Samson Delilah Kevin I talked about a few times, like on the after shows before. Is it just kind of has that beat
Swagger.
to it and a swagger, and like, you know, what they sort of did with it with the new incarnation, it was really fun. But I think, you know, the old version with Bobby just kind of like, you know, it's such a fun story and such a fun song. The lyrics are so fun, and Bobby really brings that element out in the early years, especially when he was singing it. Like in these years, it's really fun to listen to him jam it,
It
and
crushed
it
at
builds.
this one, though.
Yeah,
Fucking one of the better ones I'd heard, and really solid version. I just love how balanced in the tone and the feel. I don't know what the right word is to describe what they had through this night, but like it's just everything was not too much and not too little. Everything was right where it needed to be, right? And it wasn't all one thing, but it was all what it needed to be, if that makes sense. And I really liked this version a lot.
Yep.
yeah.
I got nothing to add.
What about Althea then?
Althea was my second strongest thing of the night. I think Jerry leaned into it. It was new. He was like, I'm loving this tune. And you could feel it in the performance.
I mean, it was like the slow down version of sort of an Althea, though, right? Like it kind of had that. It was like sexy Jerry, man. It was like this is the light a candle, grab a good bottle of red, stoke up the fire, spark a J, and get in your favorite chair and enjoy this fucking Althea with some headphones and you know, just like really, because it was smooth, it was silky, it was bluesy, it was silky, it was just unlike, you know, I know Steely Tom, happy birthday Tom if you're watching this ever today,
Oh, yeah,
but
happy birthday,
he posted
Tom.
a thing about the Without a Net Althea being the GOAT, and I was like, yes, as far as like those jammy, it hits everything perfectly. Jerry sounds amazing on it, and it's got that speed up version to it, right? Like he hits this place is getting hot, he hits those notes. In this one, it's more of just like that sexy feel of just like not bringing it, not building it, just everything's on the level, but like it's just silky and just it's beautiful. It was a really cool version.
Yes, Essie, I was at the Phil's 50th birthday show.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to you. I think that's a great description of it. Spot
Yeah,
on.
it's yeah, I love
Cool.
Althea.
You got to use your
Good for that.
FM
Not-
DJ voice though when you say it's smooth, sexy. Oh yeah.
Not even John Mayer playing it all the time. I still won't let it
No,
go. When you put Jerry on,
exactly. And even this version of it was so cool to hear, like the different, the style to it and whatever. Like it's just such a great song. And it tells you, like a great song can be told in different ways. And this is just one of those tunes that, like, no matter how you play it, is great.
you know.
And
All right,
then
music
music never
never
stopped to
stopped.
close out the set. This was pretty solid.
And did you hear
Strong
before
choice.
this song started? Wasn't this the one, or was it Mingle? I think it was this one though, where they were like, "What are we playing? Like, what's next?" or whatever. And they had a little bit of banter on stage,
Right.
and Jerry's like, hey Bobby," and like they're kind of, and Bobby's like, "No, we're doing this or whatever," and then kind of just like starts, and it kind of had that long intro of him sort of tinkering a little bit and sort of building and building and building, and then man, when it drops and you get into that so much fun. Like you just want to just, yes, let's go. And like I love this song. It's a great set closer. You're jamming, you're moving. Like the line was, "Were they ever here at all?" It gets me every time. I love that fucking. It's just such a great. It's them. It's a great way to close the set. So fun.
It is A+, A+ set there.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
agree.
And
Well,
like I
I
said,
like the second set a lot better, but I really
Yeah.
liked this first set.
For first sets, this was a great first set.
Yeah.
right.
All right, let
It's
me
the
run through
blueprint.
some housekeeping real quick. We'll keep it tight. We got a lot of shit going on this week, so get your pens and paper out to take notes. Tomorrow is the glorious return of the lot. Some of you, but probably a lot of you, don't even know what the lot is. That used to be our old pre-show that we do for dinner and a movie. We're bringing it back for the New Year's run, so we're gonna have tomorrow night instead of live. We're gonna have a New Year's Eve preview, lot version, 9 o'clock.
Are we
Then
going to do that thing?
what thing?
That thing we talked about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So let's not do this live on
Backstage.
air. Then for all 4 nights of the run, we will be live 15 minutes after encore with the full breakdown and recap of that night's show. And if you happen to be a member, you can join us at set break for a little hang. And those are going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that. And yeah, and if you aren't a member, I strongly encourage you to join. And then after the New Year's run, you can cancel your membership if you're not digging it. But at least you get to hang out with us for set break. It'll be fun. And then we'll be back in the new year with New Lives Wednesday night at 9 and Sunday morning shows at 10 a.m. Eastern. Do you want to say what we talked about so I could say if we're going to do it or not? I don't remember.
Do you know what I'm going to say, T?
No.
I was going to give people advice for their pick fives.
Oh no, fuck no, we're not doing that. Oh, you know what I do want to remind people of though, and you got to remind me to do this tomorrow night too. Is we give you our opinions after every show, and I love that. But I'm interested to hear what you guys in the community think of each night. So if you want to send us a video clip, you could tag it or direct message it to us or tag us in it. But of what you think of each night, we'll air your opinions on the shows as well, or on our socials and kind of make it a community thing. We'll come up with a cool hashtag, but for now, just tag us on it. That'd be good. Good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
Cool.
Let's get into the second set because this was a fucking sweet second set. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm like, again, I'm not statistically as inept as you guys, but I feel like not inept, but you know what I mean. But I feel like as far as China Rider goes, this was not a smoking big, massive China Rider. It was kind of like a standard. They got through it. It sounded good. It was solid, but I don't know. It didn't really give you anything more on it. It was just kind of a very standard, straightforward China Rider. Is that how you guys perceived it?
I think with China Rider, a lot of times they were complacent. China Rider had been joined at the hip since China Cat existed. I mean, there's a couple early China Cats, but once they were together, they were joined at the hip. And yeah, sometimes it feels like maybe they're just going through the motions a little bit.
I thought it had a good. It almost got to that jam though, like we were talking about that first Dick's Picks that came out, Kev, the Tampa show where they had that jam in there. It kind of started that jam, and I thought it was going to elevate that and take it to that level, which I love that jam so much because once they fall into it, it's just got that like that groove. But they cut. It was almost like a Trey ripcord. They cut out of it so quickly and got into the Rider segue already and started moving into Rider. I was like,
I
oh
was
man,
caught
they
off
kinda,
guard. I was like, "Holy shit!"
yeah,
Because they go to the double time. You're like, "Wait, we're in Rider already?" Like, what?
yeah. It kind
Maybe
of
I was
felt like,
distracted, and I don't know, but like it really caught me off
no,
guard how quickly they
it was really
transitioned.
fast, and because it felt like we were just getting into like the setup of a cool jam, and then it just really recorded into that Rider movement. So yeah, I would say, which was weird because coming out of that smoking first set, if you got that shot, you'd be like, "Oh man, we're gonna get a monster trying to ride here to open the set and kind of like lay
Right.
the foundation for the second." And it wasn't that. It was kind of like this quicker, slower version of it. Like not slower, but just a quicker, not jammy middle section there, and sort of like you said, just sort of a regular kind of China rider that didn't really take us anywhere, so to speak. So
Right.
yeah, it was interesting.
But it's a great way to open this set. It set
Always.
the stage. They eased themselves in. They had digested dinner by that point. And
You hope, yeah.
yeah,
And then Looks Like Rain, right? Right, another Bobby. So again, kind of there's a lot of Bobbies in here, and this was one of those. This was one of those. Kevin, I disagree with this one. It's not one of my favorite Bobby songs. I think Kev, you always kind of like
yeah.
it and like tell me I'm wrong, but this was a good version. I actually enjoyed
Yeah.
this version of it. It wasn't super slow. It wasn't super Bobby Velveeta-y. It didn't get too like fake emotions that I like to say Bobby brings out in his song sometimes. I thought it was a good version. I liked it, which I
Yeah,
didn't
I
say
think it
before.
was right on point. Again, that's what I was talking about before about not too much or too little. Like it had enough emotion in it, but not too much. And I actually found this version. You're right. I don't typically like this song as much either, but I thought this was a beautiful. Like I actually was kind of touched by it. Like I was like, wow, that's a really
Yeah,
beautiful version of that.
yeah.
Good job, Bobby.
All right, like good
Killing it.
job, Bobby. Write this down because this is one I'll go back and listen to.
No, great version of it.
I feel like it was the perfect place for it. And I wasn't always a fan of where it landed, but I felt it was a perfect place for it here, and it really set up what the next 35 minutes after it was with Jerry with the arpeggios at the end. Jerry
Yeah.
owned the end of that song, really.
Mhm.
The whole point of getting through the Street Cats part is to get to the end where Jerry just, you know,
Takes over, which he
yeah,
kind of does on a lot of the Bobby tunes anyway. So like because he's kind of there in the underlying part of some of those songs, the foundation that's there. But yeah, totally.
right. So then we get the He's Gone. Now this, I texted somebody last night and asked them about this, if they knew anything, like if CC Rider was planned because it was a debut this night, and I was told nobody probably remembers. So, but it really the He's Gone extra extended, really good vocal jam. I rate He's Gone's on the vocal jam at the end when they're all whoa,
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
they went into a nice jam, and I feel like the Gloria part morphed, but let's not jump ahead to that. Like they didn't plan that part, but
I think you gotta kinda talk about them together though, because like it was a really good He's Gone, and I liked the beginning of the jam, but the jam, like what's listed as the Glory Jam that and the way they segue in was probably the best they played all night, and well, at least was my favorite part. I loved the end of He's Gone into CC Rider. That whole section was I thought
I feel like
perfect.
everybody but Jerry was playing Gloria because he was just arpeggios. He went for a good 20 minutes. He was like,
Yeah, man possessed and didn't miss a note, it felt like.
I
Not a
just
single
took that
flow.
thing. Well, that was it. Like he just took that thing and kept kind of going with it out there and out there, which was great to see. And you were kind of wondering where that jam would go and if they would ripcord it like they did with the China Rider jam, right? Like, was he going to like play that? Or and you kind of I kept expecting it to ripcord, but knowing that they were coming into the Gloria jam, I was like, how are they going to get into this one? Like, where's it coming from? And I thought they did a really cool job. Teresa, they did a really cool job of that segue into it, and then that jam just kind of without any vocals or anything, just ripped, right? Like what a fun little like the song, you don't need the lyrics, they didn't need to sing it, they just kind of like jammed through it, and it's cool when that happens. It just felt, to Kev's point, very organic. Like they just kind of fell into this jam and they're like, oh shit, we're playing Gloria now. All right, cool. Like let's go with
Right.
that and jam that out. And then that segue into CC Rider was very cool. Like it
and
just kind of
and
like
then I think the next year in Amsterdam, Gloria actually is when it showed up with vocals. And then it appeared once in a while over the course of the rest of their career.
Yeah,
I mean, not
once
very
in a while.
often,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the when they finally decided, Jerry didn't let go of the Gloria Jam. The rest of the band went into CC Rider, and Jerry continued. But when I think Jerry realized like a minute into it, and they dropped down, they hit the blues beat. CC Rider isn't my favorite blues song that Bobby does, but this one was really fantastic, and it felt like they let go at the end of He's Gone, and really did the whole music plays the band thing, and where are we going to end up? That's why I wanted to know whether CC Rider was planned, because it sounds like at least Brent and Bobby knew it was going to happen if Jerry didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's weird is like, or how they knew going from that into that, if they knew if it would just sort of be a segue, or like if that jam was sort of, I don't know, like a natural way to get into it, or if they kind of knew that, or if it just sort of fell into that jam and then fell into the CC Rider. I don't know, but it was cool, like, and you got an I Know You Rider and a CC Rider in the second. So a lot of riders going on here.
Without having obviously any idea, and I don't think anybody will ever know now, right? But like without knowing what the actual plan was, it definitely sounded very super organic, and like they just were super loose, almost like borderline too loose at parts. But I really liked that, right? And they just let it go and went with it, and found themselves in CC Rider. Like, all right, here we are. Let's go with it.
And I wonder too if it's one of these, maybe they had been sound checking it, because they, like Fish, would play songs that they never played live at sound checks, just screwing around.
Yeah, and that's
until they stopped sound checking.
Yeah.
They got a surrogate band called Sparky and the Ass Bites that went in and did their sound checks at the end. I'm not.
You don't even do it.
I crap you negative.
Crapping you negative. And then going into the drums, right? Like drums.
Great drums.
There were a lot of drum tones.
There was a lot of drums.
I like. All right, but you know what I gotta say about this drums?
Let's hear it.
We talked about Easy Love You for like what 15 minutes, so I can talk about drums. I like this drums, and I like early drums because they're actual drums, and they sound like they sound like fucking skin pulled over a wood shell, and you're playing drums. Now they're like synth bombs and vibraphones, whatever crazy shit. Like it sounded very authentic, and I really appreciate it. And I'm man, those guys actually got some chops. I feel like I don't think about them that way, but I really dug it. All right, we can move on.
I'll say the best thing about this drums was no space.
Right.
Like Kev knows how I feel about space too. I'm not a space fan. Like that's my piss break. My try not to freak out while on acid time at the show. Like just keep your shit together and get through this so we can get into the next song and rock out through the encore. But not having it tonight was awesome. Like just having the drums and more drums and then going into the Not Fade Away. I was like, fuck yeah, it's like not getting a vocal jam at Yem. You're like, sweet, let's just go to the next song. Do it.
Everybody hates drums. The whole chat's just like, fuck drums.
No, drums are fun, but space just
when you're there. See, I always found it to be fun when I was there, but listening to a tape, drums were at the end of side one, boom, you were flipping it and rewinding to get to the,
It's true, but I'd like to listen to it sometimes because you like to see how it sets up space, and then I always like to listen to the end of space when they're going into like the wheel or something, because you always like to hear how they start to tinker out of it, and then when the wheel comes on or like the other one or something goes into it, you're like, okay, sweet, but again, you fast forward through the main part of it.
And that's interesting. I'll segue out of that. The drums, they hadn't added the space yet. Like Brian said, it was, it had just started. It wasn't an all the time thing there. Or it started the next year, but Not Fade Away is a holdover to 77, 78 dead, when Not Fade Away would come out of a drum solo, whereas by the mid 80s, Not Fade Away was a set closer, and that's where it lived from that point on pretty much. And when I say where it lived, can I just say when I say where it lived, I mean 80% of the time, because people are like, well, this show they did it and this show they did it. I realize.
But they'd also sometimes come back into it, or like there were certain songs that had the drums element
Even
into
Not
it.
Fade Away was
A sneak
always.
fadeaway, or even a going down the road feeling bad out of a drums, like those would have drum openings that would come like lead into those kind of songs. So yeah, there were, or like a not fade away drums into going down the road or something like that. So yeah.
I tend
I
to
dig
agree.
drums.
Comes to play.
Mhm.
What? Bring back Mickey.
Yeah, it forced them to be more rigid. The best stuff Billy ever did was 73, 74. I mean, that stuff was
Two drummers
72.
are hard, man. Why do you think Goose got rid of Ben?
Nice, nice,
Ding, ding, ding.
nice, nice,
I,
nice. See,
I
look,
am
see?
unapologetic fan of drums, though, and I
And then
also do not care for space all that much.
this
Nice.
not fade away is also interesting because instead of at the when they do the second verse and they're like not fade away, which would end the set, they'd walk off, everyone clap. This one goes into a jam, which eventually lands us.
Which I always loved when they do a not fade away jam, because the drums are there set up and it's got such a great drum beat to go into a jam and then just kind of get lost and then come back into it if you want to, or just take it into something else like they do with a Black Peter. Like, come on, how great is that? Like, and again, not the slowest Black Peter, right? Like, this isn't your like screech down and Jerry like really slowly tells you the tale and like you kind of are building to kind of that crescendo or whatever. This one kind of like went like it just kind of like had that same sort of not fast, but had a
A
little
little
bit more,
extra.
a little bluesy aspect to it, right? Like the upbeaty bluesy aspect to it. And Jerry and that guitar run was just, I mean, the end of it when he kept singing the lyrics over and over and over, like run and see, run and see. It was like sometimes when he does Standing on the Moon, right? And he's like, rather be with you. You get these extended Jerry moments that just give you chills. Like they're just those moments of like, oh, he's feeling it. Like he doesn't want to let it go. And he just keeps belting it out there. And I love that.
Black
Black Peter's
Black
one of those
Pete
songs.
Black Peter, after he came out of the coma, when they would do Black Peter, when I was seeing him and when you were seeing him, it always just it seemed so dark, like he was
Yeah.
middle
So
fingered to
yeah.
death, you know?
Yeah. No, it had that tone to it a lot of times. That's what I mean. And this one felt lighter. This one didn't have that over death hanging over it like it kind of did later, like how you kind of always remember that song being. And that's why I mean the end of it when he kept going was just beautiful. Like you just want to be like, yeah, run and see. God. Yeah. It was really good.
Awesome. And then
And then we
close
get
this
our
out with
closer.
Sugar Mags.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. Sugar Mags are Sugar Mags. Bobby brings a little bit extra sauce in the middle of it, but you know what you're gonna get with a Sugar Mags, right? Like it's that. I was a little disappointed with the end of this show with the Sugar Mag, One More Saturday Night, the double Bobby, the double kind of after such great songs, it's kind of that let down at the end. It's just kind of that, okay, they left us like that. I think if you were there, you were still high, you were still like going for it. Like it's a great way to end it. Sugar Mag Saturday Night, you're pumped, you're fucking yes, let's go. Re-listening to it 30 years later, 40 years later, you're like, not exactly what I want to end it with, but cool.
It wasn't. I was trying to think of this one Sugar Mag, but of course, trying to get back to my high school brain. But this one, I mean, it had a nice, I judge Sugar Mags by the end also. How big is the Sunshine Daydream part? Do they hit it? Does it bring
How cheesy does Bobby get? How many yells does he get in there?
Can you imagine CK5 with the lights on Sunshine Daydream? He would leave everyone's retinas burned down.
Just white lights, white lights, white lights. Yeah, I mean, it was some epic Bobby at the end. The Sunshine Daydream, the woos, and the thank you. I always love it when he does the thank you, but the one after Saturday Night's the best when he's like thank you and gives you that high pitch, sort of like that funny fun. I loved it.
It was Saturday Night ruining Bobby's voice for 50 years.
I mean, I will say that the highlight of the Saturday Night to me was Brent. I thought Brent was ripping on the keys, I thought that he was shredding that. So that was fun to listen to.
He did the old time rock and roll things so well. Like when they did like Devil in a Blue Dress, they busted out a bunch of those, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was what I was listening to more so in that song. It was fun to have that sort of element in it and him raising the game of that song more so than usual, so to speak. But great show. A lot of fun. Good. I'm glad we did this. This was a lot of fun. Loved it. Like you can tell how excited I am from it. Like the dead just does something to me. Like I really get excited talking about the dead. So
the first time I heard this show, I was 16, driving in my buddy's station wagon back from West Virginia. And I just remember being amazed. I was like, this isn't like the Grateful Dead I know from '87 that, was much tighter. And, I was like, what is this? And then Fall 79 has become one of my favorite Dead runs.
Yeah. Hey, I love I love it. Like, that's what our opinions are for. I like to each his own. Like, I'm glad you love Sugar Mags because it's a great song, and there are people out there that love it. To me, it's just one of those. The just like a Willie's and 4-wheel drive line always just drives me crazy. Like, that one line it ruins the song for me.
But don't you? I mean, I've always wanted to buy a Willie.
Every time I see one, that's like I'm like, hey, Willie's.
And honestly, you could get a Sugar Mag. You could get Sugar Mag license plate for it.
Disagreeing is important, though. That's my favorite part of WOOK Plus and what we do is we rarely agree with each other 100% when we do these. Actually, I don't think we've ever had a show where at the end of it, the three of us are like, yep, we're all on the same page.
I mean, that's the point of music, right? It's subjective. It's for the listener to enjoy and get what they want out of it. So it's great. No, I love it.
We'll talk internally. We'll either do this once a month or we'll break it off and do the Fish WOOK Club and the Dead. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We'll see. Well, the frequency of it, but I agree. I think going back and listening to these Dead shows, I'm excited about it too because I want to listen to more of it. Right, like fill in the blanks for me. So, but either way, what we are going to do next week is return back to the band from Vermont. So,
and it's T's turn to pick.
That is a tough one: Santos or Sugar Mags. Oh. Okay. My answer would be if you're talking Dead and Co. right now or Santos, I'm taking Santos. If you're talking like Grateful Dead history overall, I would take a Sugar Mags. I would take any Grateful Dead song over a Fish song any day. That's just the Grateful Dead's my favorite band of all time. So of course anything they play is better than anything by any other band. So
all right, T.
SE asked earlier why about Donna. I think the problem, if Donna had in-ear monitors like they have now, I bet she would nail it because the studio track Sunrise on Terrapin is the most perfect little prelude before Terrapin Station. It really sets the scene for the whole second side of the album. So I'm not down on Donna or Keith. My thing with Keith was he was doped up. He was nodding out. I mean, they found him asleep sometimes at shows. So, Anyway, there you go. I did see your question in the beginning. I didn't want to leave you hanging there.
All right, T. Pick a number 1 to 5. This is for next week, everybody.
I picked 1 the last time.
I know you did. I know. I'll go with 3.
1. That's weird. 2. Wow, that's weird. 3.
Oh,
hey, cool.
Interesting.
Right,
I have no idea.
First set tweezer, nice.
Ooh.
A coil that's not a set closer, nice.
A closing Caspian, interesting. A Gaiuti, in-law Josie Wales, driver.
Back when Gaiuti, he probably didn't murder it.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fresh, like right, like it's not coming in and out of anything. It's an encore, so maybe fucking practice a little before going out there. Right?
Oh, driver, that's rare too. That's cool to get.
Antelope mid-set. Yeah, this is a good one. Nice call.
Cool. Job. All right, guys, well, join us. Well, all week, but then also listen to this show at some point and join us next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, big week ahead. Looking forward to it. We got some fish coming in hot.
I'll be up in Madison on the 28th, and I think that T will be there a couple nights too. So if you see us, please come say hi. Don't I had a couple people tell me they didn't want to come up and talk to me and bother me. Please do. I love.
Yeah, come up and say hi. I'll always have stickers on me. Yeah, I have stickers on me. Come up and say hi if you see me New Year's Eve.
I'll be right here every night with you guys. See you next time.
Where else would you want to be than what's up?